We're not even 3 games into the Leafs-Panthers series, and it's already become miserable for Leafs fans. The first game in this series was an absolute gong show. You see this great play by Tkachuk to start things off. Cousins gets that rebound. It's 1-0 Florida. But the bleeding would continue for the Toronto Maple Leafs. In the second, nobody's getting to that puck. The Panthers get back to it first, right to the point. It's redirected a couple of times to make it 2-0 Panthers. And the replay is brutal for Toronto. Shot by Ekblad, tipped by Nyes, tipped by Bennett, and into the net. But the Leafs start to get some mojo here. Matthews puts it right to the slot. Nice, some incredible patience, and he spins around to get the Leafs within 1. And with 5 minutes to go in the second, the Leafs started to create some more momentum. Great passing here. O'Reilly enters the zone. Yarncroc to Bunting, and the first of his NHL playoffs comes at a huge time. But the Leafs get caught with a turnover going the other way, and they get right in the middle. Carter Verhaeghe, like a ninja, slices through the defense, and this would be the game winner for the Panthers. And then you head to the third period, the Leafs take a penalty, and now the Panthers have the attack. Brandon Montour, excellent rip, and that's all she wrote. But that Tkachuk line was absolutely balling. The Barkov line was simply incredible, and even though at points the Leafs were outplaying the Panthers got the job done when it mattered most, and that's the difference in the playoffs. But even though the Panthers played well when they needed to and got the opening win in this series, the Leafs, of course, were stomped by the Lightning in Game 1 of the first round, so it was expected that Game 2 would have a much better response, right? And at the start, there definitely was. Now, before we get into the Game 2 recap, make sure you watch till the end because we're going to go through all of this series and what happens next, and hit that subscribe button for more daily hockey breakdowns just like this. Now, Game 2 started like a circus for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and early in the first, they were getting some massive momentum, and this bottom 6 line with Kerfoot was doing some great things. The puck goes right to the point, and they get some traffic in front. Just a clear shot, camp for the battle. Kerfoot with the win, comes right in, and it's 1-0 Toronto. But you can see just a simple shot from the point, Bobrovsky just letting that rebound sip into the slot, and Kerfoot makes the most of it. Now with 15 to go in the first, Leafs have the chance for more momentum. Dalpe just with an incredibly undisciplined play, sweeping Alex Kerfoot from under his feet, and the Leafs have the chance to make it 2-0. But this was the chance to put the full stranglehold on the Florida Panthers' throats. In Game 1, the Panthers had a perfect penalty kill, killing 4 different Leafs power plays. But Toronto knew this needed to change. And it absolutely did. A loose puck, Marner gets the puck back, swerves around, puts it right on the tape to Ryan O'Reilly, and it's 2-0 Toronto. And I just want to appreciate this Mitch Marner pass again. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. But with the Leafs leading 19-4 in shot attempts, the defense just with an absolute dud. Tavares slips and falls, and an absolutely beautiful no-look pass from Sam Reinhart to Anton Lindell, and the Panthers are back within 1. But the Leafs go into the first intermission still with the 2-1 lead, and even though it wasn't perfect, for the most part, they still had a very exciting and eccentric first period. But right at the beginning of the second period, before fans could even get into the seats, it was brutal. 12 seconds into the second, turnovers galore. Nylander can't get to it. Right there, Barkov comes in, and just a sneaking shot goes past Samsonov. Sure, the defense wasn't good, but you have to get that. But again, just the defensive breakdown by Nylander, it all creates that chance. A player who's been snake bitten in this series, but you just got to do better than that. And then 40 seconds later, the Panthers continue to respond. Great puck movement, and Gustav Forsling, what a shot, and it goes past Samsonov for 3 unanswered Florida Panthers tallies. You can see Matthews just absolute fail in trying to clear the puck. Tkachuk, some great puck movement. Matthews just gets dazed by all of it and can't track the puck. The defense just a disaster all around. And there would be post shots and Kerfoot missing and so many different opportunities to score for Toronto, but none of them would go in. Whether it be a huge play by Sergei Bobrovsky or just rotten luck by the Leafs that makes it look like round 1 seeped all their luck out from within, the Panthers would eventually get the strangle on this game and would look pretty good in the third as well, getting a lot of good scoring chances and keeping the momentum going. But the Panthers continued after those 2 goals by the Leafs, continued to play the exact game that they played versus Boston. Fierce on pucks, that a relentless forecheck, and continuing to get the job done. in any single way. All the Panthers care about is getting the job done at the end, and it might not look pretty, but they do it, and that's what they've been doing throughout these entire playoffs. And the Leafs are getting a nice daily dose of what the Bruins had to deal with. This series so far is eerily looking like the Leafs Lightning series, but the roles are reversed. Right now, the Toronto Maple Leafs feel like the Tampa Bay Lightning, who might be outplaying the opposition at points throughout games, but are seemingly incapable of getting the job done when it matters most. Especially in that series, for Tampa, the overtimes were a humongous factor, and Toronto, of course, was amazing on the road, just like the Florida Panthers have been. Right now, the Panthers look like the Leafs, where they might be getting outplayed in some ways, but they're seemingly winning at every turn possible and taking whatever the other team gives them. But also give credit where it's due to Sergei Bobrovsky, who has been monstrous in this series so far for the Panthers, and right now is rocking a 4.92 goals saved above expected in the entire playoffs. But these last couple of games have been monstrous. Even though he might make a couple of mistakes here and there, and you saw in that opening goal by Kerfoot that it was a big mistake, he's come through when he's needed to, and just like the rest of this Panthers team, has won when it matters most. With this Panthers roster, they know all that matters is the job done at the end. And although, yes, some luck is going their way, they're creating their own luck. They're creating their own luck with their effort, their tenacity, and the way they play. And you have to respect it in every single direction. I don't think the Leafs have. And I think a big wake-up call has come to that entire roster. Because as we all know, and what the playoffs have proven to us so far, is that the regular season does not matter. And this Florida Panthers team is the epitome. They are the king of that motto. But another thing also for Toronto is that we can talk about offense all we want, and the Leafs generated enough chances. They got a lot of opportunities. They couldn't score on them for the most part. But what also is hugely important is that defensive play. Florida's forward group is not anything to slouch at. When you look at what they have to offer, you got a first line of Verhaeghe, Barkov, and Duclair, absolute lethal weapons. You got Cousins, Bennett, and Tkachuk on that second line, guys that can give and go so well. You got an absolutely insane third line in Eetu Luostarinen, Anton Lundell, and Sam Reinhart, deadly in all three zones. Everywhere they play, they can be amazing. And this is the type of top nine that is going to get extremely underrated. But we've seen every single player play their part, know their role, know exactly what they need to do, and it's created some amazing results. You see on Toronto's side, though, just how defensively they've broken down at points. And you see players like Mark Giordano just get absolutely dusted on so many shifts. Just like what the Tampa Bay Lightning did, they're targeting the bad defensemen that Toronto is giving out. And Mark Giordano has had some great times with the Leafs, and he's had some great times with them throughout the years. But right now, he doesn't look good. He doesn't look fast. And it makes sense with how old he is. But the Panthers are targeting him so extremely well. You see Tkachuk just ripping him apart. And you see how at some points, Toronto is still getting out-coached in ways, and especially with how you have these lapses of judgment defensively with Toronto. These type of players are ones you cannot have those chances with. They're the type of snipers that can make anything happen. And again, players like Tkachuk, players like Reinhart, players like Verhaeghe, you can't let these guys wide open like Toronto has. And that speed factor, especially with a couple of defensemen that Toronto has against Florida, is a humongous part of things. Florida is intense, they're fast on pucks, they're always first, they're relentless, and we're seeing how they're whittling that Leafs defense down in the key moments. Now, obviously, no 2-0 deficit means the series is truly over. Just ask the New Jersey Devils. But I think for the Toronto Maple Leafs, there's something that still needs to change for them. Even though they could still play well defensively for maybe 30 minutes at a time, they'll make these Jake Gardiner lapses of judgment that will completely take the game away. And that's been a constant theme throughout these two games. Even if the Leafs might be playing better, it doesn't matter if you make these bonehead decisions time and time again. And this is not a team you can do that and get away with it. And it seems like even though the Leafs' luck has run out up to this point, that doesn't mean that it can't happen again. And I think if the Leafs continue to play this well offensively, they'll continue to get back in this series. But also at the same time, Sergei Bobrovsky has been an absolute maestro. He's been unbelievable. And if that continues, it's a problem for Toronto. But at this point, there are no excuses left. Toronto knows what Florida can bring, and they have to know what they need to do to win against this Florida Panthers team. It's just, again, limiting those mistakes and still trying to create as many opportunities as possible, because the Leafs have done a pretty good job at that. The Panthers defense is not the best in the world. They can still kind of crumble to the pressure. We've seen that at points throughout this series. But again, that consistency and keeping that throughout all 60 minutes has been a huge problem for the Leafs. And again, the Panthers, to give them that credit, have been so good at breaking up that consistency. But it has to start back in Game 3. They have to get the luck back on their side. They have to get past Dreger, Bobrovsky, and they have to limit those bonehead decisions. There's no more excuses. You can't go down 3-0. It's the time to play in Game 3, and the Panthers know just how important that Game 3 is. They will not be backing down whatsoever on home ice for the first time in round 2. So for both of these teams, Game 3 is going to be super important, and I can't wait to watch it. I don't know about you guys, but it has already been a wild series, and honestly one of my most favorite to watch in these playoffs so far, besides of course my hometown team in the Stars playing the Kraken. But this series has been absolutely amazing. I want to know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about it right now? Do you think the Panthers are the overwhelming favorite with the 2-0 lead? Do you think the Leafs can come back in this series? Do you think it's not over? Let us know down below. Of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already, and share the video with all the hockey fans, all the Leafs, Panthers fans you guys know online, and click on this card for all my playoff talk right in one playlist. My name is Nathan, and I hope you have a fantastic day, and have a great one. Goodbye.